Another big story of the day, the little boy thought he was hiding from trouble. The nation thought he was trapped in his father's runaway balloon, but we now know that 6-year-old boy was never high in the Colorado sky alone. He was alone, but he was hiding in the attic. Kristen Dahlgren starts our team coverage on what his family is now saying.
I'm really sorry.
It's the outcome the family had hoped for. 6-year-old Falcon Heaney in his father's arms after a harrowing day.
Scared the heck out of us.
It started around 11 this morning when an experimental balloon unexpectedly took off from the Heaney family home. Parents and investigators fearing the worst, that Falcon was inside.
The only thing I could think of was that he had fallen out. And so I had to retract back to my mind, did he fall out or...
For 2 hours, over a distance of 50 miles, the runaway balloon led rescuers across the state as it rose thousands of feet in the air, at times dipping dramatically. As the balloon soared, it continued to lose helium and finally came down in an open field with the boy nowhere in sight. The family searched the home, hoping maybe he never got in the balloon in the first place.
We looked everywhere, doors and closets.
Hours later, an amazing discovery.
He just woke up to us.
Be careful, and then how did that play into
Just like a miracle to me.
Falcon had been hiding in his house.
Where were you?
Attic?
Why were you in the attic?
I was scared.
The confusion began after Falcon's 9-year-old brother told investigators he saw Falcon climb into the balloon before it took off. The family is breathing a sigh of relief tonight, reunited as authorities investigate how the balloon was able to take off with no one on board. Leanne Gregg, NBC News, Denver.
And new tonight, a local aviation expert said crews chased the balloon for too long. The night team's Richard Sharp continues our team coverage of that runaway balloon.
That expert says that balloon you saw on TV today is made out of the same material balloons you buy at the store. It's Mylar. Of course, it's not filled with hot air. It's filled with helium. The big difference is, of course, the size. He says, in order to let the person my size, even a small kid, it would take several hundreds of this type of balloon. It's a sight that captivated a nation. Did you find yourself, like, just gripped watching it all?
Yes, and then it was a scary thing.
Could you take your eyes off the screen the whole time?
No, not at all.
I just can't imagine my 6-year-old child being floating in the air in a big balloon.
But while everyone waited to see if the boy was inside, Tim Nelson, a local hot air balloon pilot, already knew the answer.
That balloon did not have the lifting capacity to take a small child aloft, much less a family pet.
Nelson also owns a hot air balloon company in the foothills. He says rescuers were right to chase after the balloon at first, but it shouldn't have taken so long to figure out the balloon wasn't big enough to carry the boy.
I would think that the second they got an expert involved, they should have been able to figure out pretty quickly that the kid was not in it.
Nelson says the balloon would had to have been 2 to 3 times larger to carry a 70-pound boy thousands of feet in the air. Still, like everybody else, it was a sight that even he couldn't stop watching.
I don't truly think he was negligent leaving this anchored in his yard. To me, it looked like he was planning the mother of all UFO stories.
Another tidbit of information, hot air balloons, even big helium balloons that escape, well, in the sky, they have the right of way, meaning all other aircraft have to yield to those balloons that are basically traveling by the wind. In the newsroom, I'm Richard Sharp, KCRA 3 Night Team.
Okay, so let's show you just how far this balloon traveled. It started in Fort Collins, and then it traveled around 50 miles to the south, eventually landing near Denver's International Airport. And to put this a little bit in perspective, that's like a balloon traveling in the air from Sacramento and then landing on the south side of Stockton. Well, new